Hi guys, so I wanted to give you a little bit of an insight into how the specialty filters work. It's important to note maybe a thing or two before we talk about this. The first one is that the specialty filters are not exactly working correctly in all cases, and I'll show you a case or two where that occurs, so you'll know where to watch out for it. And we are also working on still the entire set of metadata that's returned. There is some inaccuracy in the metadata, and in particular in the specialties metadata, and that's what's resulting in what you're seeing sometimes on the screen. So let me start out by showing you a relatively straightforward case here. Because I'm in Iowa right now, I'm going to have to go and actually enter an address each time here. So I've just put in the wrong road address. I'm going to click on the search button. And you may know what that does is it actually sends a search request with a specific set of specialty filters. So what I'm showing you right here is the request that has been sent to search for providers, and we are sending a list of specialty codes, quite a long list, about 20, and the specialty category code. Now the idea is, by the way, that for a given specialty category, all of the specialty codes that I show here fit into that category. I'm not sure that'll make any sense, but I'll just continue on with this. So I did the search with this, and you notice that what I see here is a case where I've got a set of maybe a dozen specialties, all of them are checked. Now this is how it's supposed to work. When we do the first search, landing on the results page, and we have specified a set of specialty codes, you see again there are about 20 of them here, it's supposed to do the search using that set of specialty codes in that category, and it's supposed to return as many results as it can find for us. Now notice in this particular case it's found 200 results, so we've maxed out at that number. Now what's important to notice, and it's hard to see here, but this is the response JSON. I have actually taken this and paste it into a couple of documents, into a document here. So here's a document which shows in readable form what the request is that I just sent for this page. And notice that we've got roughly, 27 or so specialty codes that we're saying, listen, try to give us hits in all of these. Now what I have here is the result that came back to me from this search. And the important thing to look at is the metadata that comes back. The metadata is an attempt to say, for all of the results that we've seen, what genders, what languages, what networks, etc., and what specialties we have found in that result set. So in other words, we ask for a large number of specialties, but in reality of this entire result set that we've seen, we're only going to get back a list of specialties, of metadata specialties that represent the hits that we've got. So actually what we've got here is about a dozen or so. So notice we asked for 27, but of those 27, we only had about a dozen or so specialties that existed from the result set that was sent back to us. What happens is this specialties metadata is used to build this list that you see right here, and that builds the list itself with the checkboxes. And the ones that are checked in any given search result are the ones that we asked for. So for instance, you'll see that all these are checked because we got back 08 family practice, and we asked for 08. So that means, gee, that must be included in the result set. So we had a situation here where of the 27, we got hits in about 12 of them, and therefore all of them are checked. Now in a case like this is the ideal case. This set of metadata here, this specialties list, represents everything that appears in this list of 200 results. Okay? It's actually important to know that this list of specialties, it's not what is just in the 200, because that's what we're limited by. We're limiting our result set to 200. But if we didn't have a result limit and we showed you everything here, these are all of the specialties that would appear. So saying that another way, if you were to look through all 200 results that we're showing, you might not find anybody who practices geriatrics, because it could be that the result set that we got back was maybe 300 long, and we only showed the first 200, and maybe entry 250 was a geriatric specialist. Well, we don't show him in this list but we do include it in the specialties list. And that's because as we begin to uncheck boxes here, we're sending another request, and I'm going to show that to you right now. We're sending another request and we're not including that specialty. So I'm going to uncheck geriatrics. We do another request. I'm going to open it up here and we're going to try to visualize it. And if we can, you'll notice that I have only 0801. Let me just go take a quick look at it here. We'll find out which one is the one that represents. Forgive me for not having this set up, but let's go for specialties here. So there's our specialties list, and geriatrics was code 38. If we look in this list, you see that I did a request without code 38. In fact, if I turn it back on and I do another request, and we compare these two requests, what we'll see is the only difference between this request and this request is that now we've got code 38 in there. So that's what we're doing. I hope that makes sense. So we're adding filters back and forth. So this is an ideal situation. We have the specialty list. It accurately reflects what would be in the results set if we didn't limit it to 200. As we uncheck them and we remove specialties from our search, the list will get shorter and shorter. We can't see it yet because it's still capped at 200. So in other words, removing family practice, general practice, and geriatrics, but leaving all of these, still result in 200 hits, because although we're dropping the providers that practice only these specialties, I've still got more than 200 available with all of these others. Now at some point, if I keep removing them, I'll probably have removed enough that will no longer be hitting the 200 cap. Let's see, let's remove pediatrics because that's probably a popular one. And what we should see perhaps this time, well, no, not yet. So let's remove physician assistant. And I'm just guessing here at what it'll take to get us down below 200. This is taking a little longer. There we go. Now we finally removed enough specialties here, all of these specialties, that we're now down to 185. If I were to, let's just say, let's remember 185. I'm going to take nurse practitioner adult health off. We should see fewer again. We're below the cap, so it should be that. Interesting. Now see, this may be an example where specialties aren't working quite right. I took nurse practitioner adult health off. That didn't change the number. So it would appear that there are no adult health practitioners in here. And this is a case where specialties aren't working quite right. Let's try this. We notice that we've got nurse practitioner family here. I'm going to remove it. Let's see if that goes below 185. It should. Good. It went down 147. So in other words, I removed that and we had those. Now this tells me, what this tells me is that there were actually no nurse practitioner adult healths in the result set, even though the metadata said there should have been. So let me check it again. 147. We're going to remove nurse practitioner adult health again, and I'm guessing it'll come back as 147 again. And no, it didn't. So here's a case where the metadata isn't quite working right, and this is the sort of thing you should keep an eye out for. It is a mistake. We're going to have to work on it to see what's going on, because basically these numbers should work right. If I take something out and add it back in, I should see exactly the same result, but we're not seeing quite the same thing there. Okay? So that is a case where there is a problem. Now let me show you another particular case here that may be a little odd. I'm going to enter the address again. This time I'm going to enter a keyword rather than clicking on the search button. And what this will do, I'm going to click, say, the podiatry specialty. Now that will send, I think, only a single specialty code. Oh, no, a small group of specialty codes. These specialty codes that you see here are all ones that are associated with podiatry, and the group that they go in, the category that they go in, is group 17. So what did we get? We got 51 results. Now here's the interesting thing. I only got this single one back. Let's take a look at the response that we got here, and this is unreadable the way it is, so give me a second here, and what I do is use a tool that lets me put it into a more readable form. We'll paste it in here, and let's look for metadata. Oops. And then let's look for specialties. Now this is interesting. We only got a specialty of primary podiatric medicine, which is HF back, so we only got an HF back here. Our original request, if you recall, and we can look here, was that we were asking for, Oops, excuse me. Let's go back here. Got to click the right button. It's a little hard to maneuver here. Okay, so notice that HF was in fact one of the categories we asked for. Now, if we believe the metadata that came back, these other specialty codes, SR, 1C, SS, and 48 did not have any hits, right? And it looks like that's the case, right? Because I only see primary podiatric medicine in here, and that's all I see in this list. 51 results. It's only the one that came back, and it's checked. Now let's just go through these just to make sure. I think that's probably right. If I scroll here, that's all we're seeing for hits here. So I'm going to guess that in fact this metadata that came back is accurate. We only see that one single specialty, HF, which is called primary podiatric medicine. And looks like we have to go off and get the first. Okay, there we go. Perfect. All right, now I'm going to go back to the beginning here. There we go. We're back on the first page. Now, the interesting thing is here, and this is a mistake, we're going to also fix this. Since there's only a single specialty here, unchecking it, being able to uncheck this makes absolutely no sense, because that would say that you're going to then ask to do a search with no specialties. And that is a mistake, and it's not right. I'll show you what happens. I just unchecked it, and if we look at the post operation here, what we'll see is that I have asked for no specialty whatsoever. Notice that there is no specialty filter shown in here. Now it's taking a long time because it's searching all specialties at this point. So this is an odd case, and what we got back here in just doing a search over a 5-mile radius with no specialties clicked in there, this is why the specialty filter changes, because what we get back is, let's take a quick look here and I'll show you. We should get back a ton of specialties listed because we've done a search without a specialty filter. We're only doing it with distance, and in that case what happens is the data that's returned to us will include a lot of specialties, and so that will build an entirely new list. Here it is. Here's the specialties that we've got right here. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 8 specialties. It's probably what we've got here too. Yep, we have. Oh, pardon me. The screen pops every once in a while. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that is going to be an oddity. We should never allow the last specialty checkbox in a list to be unchecked, because that's effectively doing a search with no specialties, and you really can't get back from that now, and that makes no sense. So that's another fix that we're going to have to do here. Okay. Now let me show you one other thing in terms of behavior that may or may not make sense. Let's see if I can find an example here. So give me a moment. I'm going to try to do a search for the word A&D. Okay, that won't do it. Let's do a search for this, Smith maybe, S-M-I-T. Okay, good. We're getting physicians. I'm going to click View All. Now what this does is it does a name match only search. And so if I look here, what you'll see for the filters is there's a name of Smith filter, distance and entity type, but there's no specialty here. So we're not specifying a specialty filter for this, in which case this is also behaving a little strangely. And here's a case where our specialty metadata is not reflecting reality. So let me show you why that is. If I go here again and we look at the data in a reasonable form, I'm going to show you that we only have one specialty coming back: licensed marriage family therapist. Okay, and you saw that here because that's the only one that exists. Sorry for this popping all the time. That's the only one that exists, and it's the one that's checked. But look, we have other things in here: general practice, dentistry. We have otolaryngology. So what's in this list does not accurately reflect what's in the specialties. And this is another case where our specialty metadata that we're getting back is not accurate. So for example, if I were to look at specialties and all of the providers I have: general practice dentistry, there's another one, we saw this list: licensed marriage family therapist, otolaryngology, I'll keep going for a little bit here, nurse practitioner, adult health. So why is it that the metadata doesn't reflect the actual results that we're seeing? This is a mistake, and we're going to have to work on that as well. So our biggest problem right now is that getting the specialty data is inaccurate at the moment, and what's in this block does not always reflect what is actually in the result list here, and that's another bug that we have to work on. Again, also, if I unclick this one, I'll be doing a specialty list. I'll be doing a search without specialties at all, and then we'll get ourselves into a complete mess. So, all right, hopefully that makes at least a little sense in what we're doing here. Again, in any case, if you want to know about what's going on with a given situation with regard to the specialty filters, you can open up a window in Firebug and take a look at the searches that are being done, and hopefully that'll tell you a little bit more. Okay? Let me know if you have any questions. This is my first attempt to explain it. I hope it makes some sense. We'll go from here. Thanks.